This video is brought to you by Squarespace. No doubt, you've probably seen a video on TikTok that looks something like this.
Let's make it to England, free housing and benefits!
Yes, he did grab my bum, but it's my fault he could see my hair, so I've just ordered a hijab on Amazon.
And you looked at it and you thought, this right here is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Surely, no one can fall for that. And you're probably right. Most people are not going to think this is a real video. But that right there misses the point completely. The growing usage of AI in politics has really taken on a life of its own. It has moved beyond just simply trying to deceive you and has become one of the biggest political propaganda weapons in human history. Today, we will explore how AI slopaganda is destroying the world.
Here's your Deliveroo food bag and phone. If you go to the end of the beach, you will receive a bike to start work. Look at this. These boats just keep coming in. Look, there's hundreds of them. Since Sharia law banned pork and alcohol, people are fleeing the UK.
What are the conditions of the workhouse like?
It's cold, damp, and the food is barely fit for a dog.
So imagine it's the 1800s and you're some just smooth talking jive turkey who really wants to be a politician, who wants to win an election. And so what do? You go and ask some smart fucking dudes. You say, bros, how do I win? And so in this time, like the 1800s, the dominant political theory was this idea of the rational actor. That every single voter was a rational, calculated individual who would sit down when they hear all the political speeches and they would add up the pros and the cons. Oh, what's his tax policy? What's his educational policy? Blah, blah, blah. If you were trying to win an election in this time, when you were doing your political messaging, you would write out detailed policies. You'd put out graphs and charts and data and facts and oh, fuck me. And I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this and you're going, what is this nerdy shit? I want some Make America Great Again. I want to hear for the many, not the few. Or maybe a little bit of yes, we can. Over time, into the late 1800s and 1900s, the political theorists, psychologists, and eventual propagandists, they started to understand the psychology of voters much better than what they did before. And the thing these guys started to understand was that people do not vote based on policy, facts, and data. They vote based on emotion, happiness, sadness, hope, anxiety. Basically, the way the human brain kind of works is we have like two systems of thinking. A geezer called Daniel Kahneman came up with this idea that system one is the sort of fast, emotional, and instinctive way of thinking. System two, however, is the slower, the more rational, and the more analytical way of thinking. And so what political theorists realized was tapping into that system one, you know, the fast, the emotional way of thinking, that is what will win them elections.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The thing that AI is really good at is tapping in to that system one type of thinking. Before you lot say it, I know my eyes are absolutely fucked in this video. I didn't burn a zoo, I didn't get pink eye, I'm not turned into a demon, something with my contact lenses. I'm sorry, but they're better now. AI, when it comes to politics, doesn't need to write out detailed policy proposals and analyze the different nations and work out what policies might work best for us to make life better for the people. No, it doesn't need to do that. What AI needs to do is to make a picture of Donald Trump on the back of an eagle holding a bazooka, looking super jacked and muscular. Because an image like that makes you feel something. I don't know what the feeling is. I find it hard to articulate it. I'm confused by these feelings.
It's perfectly normal for people to have all sorts of random, unexpected thoughts or attractions, and it doesn't have to mean anything definitive about you.
AI just simply needs to understand your emotional triggers, and it just needs to poke at those parts of your brain to make you feel something, you emotional mess. So imagine, right, if, you know, just hypothetically, if there was like these really self-interested politicians and you gave them this tool, we can assume that they would definitely use it responsibly, right?
Some people may not have seen this yet, and this was posted on the president's account. Why might the president post something like this now?
Trump cards are shining bright, golden future, a brand new life.
Absolutely, this is definitely one of the stranger developments.
The major breakthroughs in AI kind of started around like 2017, and it wouldn't take very long for us to see AI popping up in politics. In 2018, BuzzFeed put out this video.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things.
Now, this was a deepfake video of Obama, voiced by the actor and director Jordan Peele. It was obviously satire. It wasn't meant to be believed, but rather it was meant to be a warning that we now live in an era of technology that they may have not really done in real life. And very quickly, lawmakers took this seriously. They were worried that this tool could be used to deceive people, to sell fake news stories and spread fake information. And it's interesting, right? Because this was the original fear. In the early days, they were more fearful that AI was going to trick people into believing in fake stories based off of fake images and video. If during election time you saw a video of Biden doing a line of gear, or when we want to support Ukraine, you actually see a video of Putin saving a puppy, suddenly you might vote or support causes differently than you may have before. This was the big fear. And it did start to happen. By 2019, researchers at Graphica became some of the first to expose fake news accounts on Facebook whose avatars were AI generated. They discovered this massive AI generated campaign from an organization called Epoch Media Group. This group was the second largest funder of pro-Trump Facebook ads after the Trump campaign itself. And there's a whole fucking story about how the CFO, Bill Guan, laundered at least $67 million, which he stole from like pension funds and stuff and pushed it through cryptocurrency. It was a mess. That aside, Epoch managed over 900 pages and groups and individual accounts. And these would be like Facebook groups called America Needs Donald Trump. In one of the group, 9 out of 15 of the admins had AI generated faces. And like, if you really look closely at these profiles, you could roughly see that it was an AI image, like the face, the ears were weird, distorted backgrounds, etc. But they were real enough at a glance for people not to really look into it. And they were pumping out pro-Donald Trump and far-right narratives, fake stories and memes at an unbelievable scale. Overall, they spent $9 million on advertising and managed to amass across all of its platforms 55 million followers. But eventually, the jig would be up, right? They would catch them, would say, bad boys, stop that, and Facebook decided to take them down. And this would mark the beginning of an AI slopaganda cat and mouse. Before we go any further with this video, I want to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the #1 platform for building your own custom, beautiful, amazing website. For me, the best bit is the cutting edge design tools. By using their Blueprint AI, anyone can have a perfectly customized and bespoke website. You can just tell the AI what your industry is, what your goals are for the website, and it will create a personally designed website filled with content and an amazing looking design. And from their award-winning templates, you can just pick and choose any of the designs that you like and really make your website stand out. A massive part of businesses these days is having an email marketing list so that you can send out things like product updates and events, etc. Squarespace allows you to make them as well as managing them and sending them out. Literally any time in the past that I've needed to make a website, I've always used Squarespace. It's simple, easy to use, and enjoyable. So be sure to head to squarespace.com to start your free trial. And when you're ready to launch the website, go to squarespace.com/Jimmy the Giant to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Anyway, back to the video. So various other instances would happen, but by late 2022, researchers flagged that there was like these pro-Chinese AI videos being created. What separated this situation from others was that this was the first instance of the Chinese state. This was a state-aligned operation that were creating videos using AI-generated presenters. He created this whole fake news channel called Wolf News, using these fake personas to amplify pro-Chinese state talking points and anti-American talking points. And like this operation wasn't very big, right? There were 2 videos about 1.5 to 3 minutes long, and the videos were dog shit, right? You can look at them. They weren't very successful, right? They got about 300 views each. But why this was notable was that this was the first time an actual state had used AI to push political propaganda. And in that move, they had planted the seeds for what was to come. So eventually ChatGPT would come out, right? And it made AI much more accessible. Suddenly, anyone with a laptop and the username Western Defenders 69+1, because I'm not into all that, now they could generate endless persuasive content, tweets, threads, newsletters, angry Facebook posts from mums in Ohio. And it could do this in seconds. But despite this, it still took a little bit of time for AI to spill into the official world of Western politics. And that happened right in time for a certain politician trying to make their bid for election. Ron DeSantis.
I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running for president to lead our great American comeback.
I know, right? Surprising. You thought I was going to say Trump. It wasn't Trump. Trump was not the first. It was actually old Ronnie over here. Ron Dingo, he was actually the first to use AI, from as far as I can see, as an official politica, and he used it to smear Donald Trump. It'd be on June 5th, 2023. In this period of time, you may have forgotten, which was when Ron DeSantis was actually looking like he might be the nominee for the Republican Party. And if you look at the polling compared to Trump, he was not doing that bad. And that's because this was after Donald Trump just failed to coup the American government. And people at the time thought that that was a bad thing, that he tried to do that. But everyone managed to get over that because they realized the bigger threat to society was trans people wanting to take a shit in a public toilet. So anyway, Ron DeSantis would post this.
Today I walk in, I hear I'm going to fire him. I'm not firing him. I think he's a wonderful guy.
Should you have fired Fauci?
So a lot of people asked me that question, and I did it right. Because if you do fire him, you're going to have a firestorm on the left again.
This ad, produced by the pro-DeSantis group DeSantis War Room, shows 3 fake AI gen images of Trump hugging Dr. Anthony Fauci, first identified as false by AFP Fact Check.
In this video of what were real video clips, if you look very closely at this shot right here, carefully hidden amongst real photos of real events, were a number of AI-generated photos. Just subtle enough to blend in for you not to quite notice it. This was a big deal, right? Ron just they didn't say it was AI, it was just presented as truth. This was outright image manipulation from a official politician. It was completely unacceptable. I mean, of course, nothing happened to him. He is still the governor of Florida. The post still stands on the website, and I'm pretty sure him and Trump are still homies. All's fair in love and war.
How would you describe your relationship, and what future does Governor DeSantis have? Excuse me?
I think it's a 10. Maybe 9-9, but there might be a couple of little wounds.
From this moment, AI propaganda had entered American politics. Very quickly, Trump responds with his own diss track. And what he posted was an AI parody of Ron DeSantis' announcement for his presidential bid.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Ron DeSantis Twitter space.
Hello? Is my microphone working correctly?
George, can you just wait while we...
Hello?
If you remember, it was a bit of a sketchy launch, and the joke that Trump was making was that in attendance of Ron DeSantis' presidential announcement was George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Hitler, and the devil. Yes, this is politics. So you might see all this, right? And a question might be nagging in your head. Surely you can't do that. This isn't allowed. This is wrong. This has to be illegal. And this is where things get a little bit complicated. You see, those original stories of AI, you know, the Chinese campaign, Epoch Media, they were all taken down. They were all removed. However, that was under the decision of Facebook and their own policies. At the time, Meta was super fucking woke, and they still cared about lame things like media manipulation, misleading fake news. But things changed when Elon Musk took over Twitter in 2022, where he just said, fuck all that. All the moderation stuff, no, which was super based and really, really good for society. And he started to hand out verified check marks, the blue check, to anyone who would pay for it. Disinformation, fake news, was now allowed, including fake AI-generated content. These things were not only just allowed, they were boosted by the algorithm. And so now you had a new situation where if you were a political actor, whether you were officially state-backed or just a freelance truth seeker, now you're allowed to just flood the platform with AI-generated memes, fake videos, deep fakes. And you would understand why different countries and states, politicians might want to use this propaganda and spread it. But what was weird was that it wasn't only officials. When Elon Musk allowed people to pay for blue check marks, he also introduced a way for users to make money from posting content. And so this opened up a new incentive for people to post to X, a platform with basically no rules and solely a focus on engagement. Now, outrage, spectacle, and misinformation were gold. If your AI video of Biden getting a lap dance from a stripper gets 1 million views, Twitter pays you. This information became monetizable by anyone. And AI was the jet fuel that powers it.
My worst fears are that we, the field, the technology, the industry, cause significant harm to the world. I think that could happen in a lot of different ways. It's why we started the company. It's a big part of why I'm here today and why we've been here in the past and we've been able to spend some time with you.
But you see, in the very beginning, right, when AI came around, the developers like OpenAI, they recognized the potential for disinformation and all the bad things that happen. And so they, on their platform, maintain very strict guidelines on how you can use their AI. You weren't allowed to generate fake images of real people. It's strict rules around making images that were racist or inflammatory or deliberately manipulative. And that's all well and good for OpenAI. But what if someone who used to work at OpenAI had a massive public falling out with Sam Altman and decided, fuck you, I'm gonna make my own AI? Do you think that this person would also put those guidelines on his AI?
OpenAI, I mean, you seem somewhat frustrated with them. You were one of the big contributors early on.
The reason I am the reason OpenAI exists.
In 2023, Elon Musk releases Grok. All of a sudden, you could now generate high quality, high definition, fake images of politicians, celebrities, and you could do so for free in a matter of seconds. And the images were very convincing, like they're very lifelike. And although this feels like it should be illegal to generate these images, it instead left us in this weird legal limbo. On Facebook, if you post a deep fake, you might get flagged. The video may get taken down. On TikTok, they might show you a label that it's generated by AI. But on Twitter, you can just post it. There's no rules. And with the handcuffs off on Twitter, it meant that the platform became more radical, extreme, more outrageous, but in turn, it made it more engaging. If we go back to our understanding of propaganda, it's about playing with those emotional triggers. Without any rules to stop it, the Twitter platform hacked your brain and became more addictive. I personally can attest to that. I think everyone can. And so what did all the other platforms do? What does Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, what do they do? Do they remain the bigger man? We won't stoop to that level? Fuck no. They saw that Twitter was popping and they realized that probably they should relax their own rules. Mark Zuckerberg jumps on Joe Rogan and basically says, bros, look, we're chill now, come back.
I was really worried from the beginning about basically becoming this sort of decider of what is true in the world. It's something out of 1984.
You can post your AI migrant videos, so we're chill, dude. I love that we can do this together. This is a very natural process that you will see in big corporations. Once one big company tries to test the waters with how bad they can make the product or what they can get away with doing that probably the general public think is a bad idea, once one of them does it and proves that they can do it and there's no backlash, normally all of the other corporations fall in line and do the same thing. And so now the AI Slopaganda arms race was in full swing.
Meanwhile, trade tensions between the US and China are still flaring as Chinese state media is taking some new swipes at President Trump with the help of AIs.
AI-generated clips like these, showing Trump and Elon Musk hard at work in factories, have been flooding China's tightly controlled social media platforms for months.
What I find really interesting is how AI Slopaganda really has a few different use cases. As I mentioned before, in the early days, the biggest fear was around fake stories and fake images that would deceive lots of people. And this does happen. There was a few key examples, right? There was Pope Francis wearing a puffer jacket around about March 2023, and Donald Trump's fake arrest photo, again around March 2023. These stories did blow up. They convinced lots of people. I think I was fooled by some of them. But very quickly, they were debunked. They were fact-checked, community noted, and the virality of it was like a flash in the pan. It didn't really have much real-world impact. There is some deceptive stuff. When you look on Facebook, you see these weird fucking images of, I don't know, some African kid making something out of plastic bottles. Whatever the fuck. What is this? You got this weird shrimp Jesus thing. AI motivational speeches. And these aren't political, it's just basically a big scam. So when your granny comments amen underneath the image, some geezer can sweep in and steal her house. Also, scammers have been using politicians pretending to do announcements, and it is all, again, just a big scam. I personally would argue the ability for AI to deceive people is actually one of the lesser important features of AI in politics, because there is something much darker that AI is being used for and is having real world consequences on politics.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
I think it's pretty safe to say that the biggest instance of AI slopaganda in politics was the Haitian cats and dogs thing. I know, you've probably forgot about that now. It was only 8 months ago. Can you fucking believe it? If you don't remember, basically, there was a story, a rumor, that Haitian migrants were eating cats and dogs in a city called Springfield. The rumor came from the 27th of August, where there was a Springfield town meeting. A geezer got up and was complaining about Haitians, and in amongst it, he said they're eating cats and dogs. And by Tuesday, the 10th of September 2024, this rumor had hit boiling point. And this happened to be on the day of the one and only Trump versus Harris presidential debate, where in amongst this absolute mess of a debate, Trump blurts out,
they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
This whole thing was fucking absurd. It was fact-checked in real time. There's zero credible evidence that Haitians were eating cats and dogs. Do I even have to say that? And you'll probably notice that after this moment, and after Trump got in power, no one has spoken about it since. Apparently, the Haitians got full. But why we're talking about this is because this was an instance where a folk whisper, like a rumor from a city, had morphed into this enormous AI slopaganda wave of pictures of Trump, cats, dogs, him hugging them and kissing them and saving them, and like Haitian migrants in the background. And the thing about it, right, is obviously, if you look at it, I don't think many people believed these images were real. That wasn't the point. They weren't trying to trick people, but what they were doing was adding an emotive propaganda backing to a racist rumor. They were painting an image that Donald Trump was saving the pets or something from these evil, gross Haitian migrants. This is AI's real power. It wasn't about fake imagery to trick you, but rather straight emotional propaganda. By taking the growing anti-immigrant sentiment in America and feeding it on a purely emotional level. And this AI slop was pumped out and got massive reach. Jack Posobiec did a tweet of Trump running with a cat and a duck from black men, reaching 1.3 million views on Twitter. He followed it up with Trump running from zombies, getting 3.5 million. The official Republican House Judiciary Committee, they too posted an image of Trump hugging a duck and a cat, and this image has over 70 million impressions. Elon Musk himself reshared it. And then eventually, after the debate where Trump said the thing, he too would post his own image of him saving cats and dogs. And what was so uniquely weird about this whole situation was, like, I think lots of people did know that it was bullshit. Like, they knew the thing was fake. But, like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter to lots of people. The best example of this is where J.D. Vance was asked about this whole cats and dogs thing. Like, he knew that it was fake, and they asked him. And what he said was a very honest thing.
The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dan.
He basically was saying that, yeah, if we have to make shit up to get people to talk about immigrants, we will do that. It's so interesting to me when we think about, like, way in the past, like medieval history, and you would hear about these rumors of someone in the town being a witch, and the people round them up and fucking leg them off a cliff, and we laugh at it because, you know, today we know better. We have science, we have technology, we have things that can tell us if things are real or not. And you think, surely fake stories like that cannot spread that easy and be believed. But this was like an example of that old thing happening in the modern day. Folk whispers that didn't really matter if they were true or not, or if there was any convincing evidence or videos of it actually happening in that town. It didn't matter because of these half ironic, semi-satirical AI images of cats, dogs, and Donald Trump saving them. What this stuff did was play on the deep-rooted, commonly held fear that migrants are backward and evil and trying to attack the native population, and it also painted Trump as this heroic savior. All whilst the humor of the whole thing, the deliberately over the top and fake images, allowed individuals to have a bit of a plausible deniability to say, you know, it's just a joke, bro. The early worries and fears that AI was going to trick people with fake stories and convince people something that didn't happen did, really, I don't think took into account the true power of AI propaganda. The true power being able to create propaganda images and videos that reinforce your emotions and reaffirm your feelings. And the Trump campaign really has fully embraced AI as a weapon, with very notable usages like the Trump Gaza AI video, which is just fucked. I mean,
Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1.
it's the most dystopic thing I've seen, like acting as if this genocide is a real estate investment opportunity. Videos like this mainly serve a purpose of like inflaming and outraging the opposition, like owning the libs, and sort of vaguely alluding to this idea and painting this image that Trump is some kind of savior and protector. I mean, there's literally clips of him as a golden statue. And it's this is the big power of AI, to literally just push a vibe and paint an image, a feeling. You see it all the time with how Trump and Elon use AI. I mean, both of them look like they would struggle to get up a set of stairs, yet every single AI image of them is them looking fucking ripped. I mean, some of the images are them wearing suits of armor, for fuck's sake. It's so genuinely weird, but it is no different than the classic usages of propaganda. From like Hitler all the way to Kim Jong-un, they will show images and literally paint themselves as heroic, strong men. But AI just allows them to do this at a much faster speed, with a much bigger spread to create this mythology.
I actually find it pretty confusing that conservative boomers are this into AI art. It's something I think I'm going to be thinking about for a long time. Like, what's going on? Why do they like it?
And like, this is the more obvious and like over the top expressions, but you even see it in more casual and kind of fun versions. There's this channel called the Door Brothers, and they make these AI generated videos, which honestly are really well made. Like, they're fun to watch, but they have some very weird subtext. Like, the underlying image and emotions that you get from them are very fucking sus. There's one called The Drill that depicts Trump like this playboy cool gangster, meanwhile showing Kamala as like this drunken divorcee middle-aged woman. In that same video, it shows Putin as like this cool Peaky Blinders character, and then shows Zelensky surrounded by money and American flags, trying to paint him as like a corrupt money launderer. And I know, I'm not stupid, I understand this is meant to be like kind of satirical, it's meant to be fun and jokey, but I do think they passively play a role of like trivializing brutal dictators and downplaying very serious situations. Given a kind of cool badass aesthetic to someone like Putin, downplays who these people are. You guys know with me, it's personal with Ukraine. I've literally just come back there, and seeing this kind of romanticized view of Putin really doesn't fucking sit well with me. And as you can see with the quality of these things, the progression of technology is going at an insane rate. Recently, with the launch of Google's VO3, AI can now do full voices and mouth movements, and they look more convincing than ever.
Ну вот первый день живу без помощи ЕС. Греюсь санкциями, ем старые брошюры НАТО.
And pro-Russian propagandists are using it themselves to pump out pro-Russian, anti-Ukrainian content, trying to show Ukrainians in like a dehumanizing way and paint Zelensky and the Ukrainians out as weak. VO3 seems to be particularly good at doing like street interviews and vloggy style formats. And so places like TikTok right now are being swamped with like AI migrant videos.
What are you most looking forward to now you're in England?
I want my free iPhone and Tesco meal deals, and I already have a job at Deliveroo. Today I took a trip to God's own country, although now it seems like it's Allah's now.
Mashallah. What are your plans in the UK?
Well, I've already downloaded the Deliveroo app, but now I just need a free e-bike from the taxpayers.
Welcome to the UK. What can you do for our country?
Absolutely nothing. I'm here for the free hotel accommodation and the Fit24 subscription.
These videos, although they look very convincing, I don't think most people are being fooled by them to think they're real. You do see a few boomers in the comments that fall for it, but I think they're actually doing the same thing that the Trump cats and dogs things are. people know it's fake. But when you read the comments, you sometimes see stuff like, look, even the AI understands the problem. These videos aren't meant to be believed. These videos are just simply meant to reinforce popular sentiments and feelings, adding a fuel that triggers people's anxiety and fears, which inevitably hardens people's political positions and makes it much harder to undo those opinions by just giving them dry facts and data alone. And like, that's what propaganda does. You see it all the time. Like right now, the British public have been completely gaslit and absolutely misinformed about the scale of illegal immigration into the country.
Roughly half of the population believing that there is more irregular migration than regular, when the real figure is 4%.
Even when you have weird, absurdist videos like this one, it's like Lord of the Rings, it's ironic, it's obviously clearly a joke.
That orc's been following me. I don't feel safe at all.
As you can see, all these refugees from Mordor are trying to enter the city.
However, when you read the comments, you see people agreeing with the sentiment. It all plays a political purpose. And it all goes back to that original point I made about System 1 and System 2 thinking. AI slopaganda is preying on that fast, emotional, and instinctive thinking. And once those emotions are tied in, it becomes very hard to rationalize someone out of them. So, you might be wondering, what the fuck are we doing to stop this?
Politicians in Europe will vote on a proposal to bring in a law that would govern the use of artificial intelligence. The move comes after warnings from experts of serious risks and consequences if it continues to go unregulated.
Well, you probably won't be surprised to hear that right now there's no universal AI content regulation. There's no real transparency rules, and certainly no international enforcement bodies. Up until now, we've literally just relied on these platforms to moderate themselves. And for a while they were, but right now they're becoming less and less enforced. So political campaigns, state actors, and anyone with a GPU can just pump out endless waves of AI-generated propaganda and be rewarded for it. And the reason being is America. Most of these big tech platforms, Meta, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, they all have headquarters in America. And America have the First Amendment, the right to free speech. It really ties their hands in their abilities to do anything about it. And AI propaganda is a real challenge for free speech. It's like the final boss of the free speech debate, because it's no longer about you or I's ability to express ourselves through our voices. Now, authoritarian states, nefarious billionaires, entire bot farms can pump out opinions and ideas masquerading as real people. So anyone who can afford the resources to make these incredibly big campaigns, they can push their ideas far beyond where you and I can. The general argument around free speech is this idea that the best ideas will always float to the top. And perhaps that would be true if it was a room full of people all on equal footing and we all have our one voice and we can express it, but now it is no longer that. Massive Russian bot farms can pump out conspiracy theories 24/7, spread across massive networks with zero accountability. However, all is not lost. In Europe, the attitude to free speech isn't that of absolutism. Free speech is a principle that is balanced between safety and democratic integrity. In much of Europe, there are stricter rules on hate speech. Holocaust denial is illegal in multiple countries, and recently they've been bringing in legislation, the Digital Services Act and the AI Act. Platforms are now legally obliged to limit disinformation and label synthetic AI content. And if they don't do it, platforms can be fined millions. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect in Europe. Enforcement is very patchy, and sometimes censorship can go too far. I mean, we're seeing that a lot in the UK right now. Literally the other week, 500 people were arrested for holding up placards supporting Palestine action. 5 Just Stop Oil activists were jailed for a combined 21 years for being in a Zoom call planning civil disobedience. And as well, there's debates over hate speech and calls to violence. We see it with the Lucy Connolly case, where she was put in jail for 2 years or so over a tweet that she posted during the anti-migrant riots, where she called for a migrant hotel to be set on fire. Free speech is a genuine struggle. You have to find the sweet spot. Like, I don't think the American Wild West approach works. It kind of looks like, to me, it's breaking their democracy apart, but equally, you have to be careful of giving too much power to censorship. AI slopaganda has really exposed just how brittle our free speech laws are, how important speech is to the democratic process, and just how important it is that we take this thing seriously. Personally, I think there probably should and will be laws to ban generative AI in political ads entirely, to make platforms legally liable for hosting disinformation, and to force them to create tools to do real-time recognition and labeling of AI content. I personally just don't trust these big tech platforms to police themselves, especially when the economic incentive is for them to get as much engagement as possible. This stuff to them is like crack.
Welcome to London in 2035. Right then, got the thobe blending in, yeah?
Come get your fresh meat, no pork, all halal, mashallah.
Well, that's breakfast ruined. Here for the big announcement. Let's see what they've got to say.
Effective immediately, all pubs across England will be closed. Alcohol is now officially banned.
Excuse me, mate. What's going on here? Where are you all heading?
We're illegally immigrating to Poland. We're out of here.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really helps me grow out the team, pay my editors fairly. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.